If you're in the market to sell your home, you'll want to hear what RE/MAX specialist Maria Raymer has to say first when it comes to selling without an agent, otherwise known as for sale by owner. So welcome back to the show.
Thank
Always
you.
great to see you.
You too.
Always helping us out with this real estate information, which I think is so important and we need to know. So I think in most cases people think like, oh, you know, when I'm going to sell my home, you know, I want to do it on my own. And what are some things that would maybe pop up that could suggest that that might not be a good idea?
Yeah, there's so many things that could come up, and the reality is if you don't do this every day and you don't have the knowledge and experience, it's really difficult to get through this process trouble-free because you don't know what to do or say.
Right.
So there's just so many things that can come up.
And we're going to talk about those things because we talked off camera and I'm like, oh wow, I never thought of that. So first up, is there more liability for a seller if they sell on their own?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us about that.
There's a lot more liability. Each state has their own laws. As agents, we have to adhere to those laws. We're educated on this, so we know what we can and cannot say, whereas a seller doesn't know. For example, fair housing laws. You could very innocently be having a conversation with a buyer and say the wrong thing and land yourself into a court situation because you violated fair housing. They may know it and you didn't. So yeah, you have to be super careful. There's
scary.
So many other things too that can land you in court.
Yeah, I don't like the
when
sound
you're
of
dealing
that.
with contracts and real estate and
I'm
everything.
like, I'll take the agent. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do most people who think selling on their own is going to save them money? I think that's what I would think, right? That people want to do it because they think, well, I'm not going to have to pay the agent fee, right?
Right. They do think it's going to save them money, and that's the reason they do it. But the reality is, it rarely ever does. And the reason why is they really don't have the skills to market the house properly to get the most motivated, qualified buyers to the property. And in not knowing that, you average more days on market, which drives a lower sale price. So yeah, it's not really the best way to go about it if you're trying to save money. And also statistically, we know that listed properties average 8 to 10% higher selling price. Excuse me. So in that case, the fees that you would pay an agent are far less. So if you look at it that way, you actually make more money on the sale when you hire a professional to sell your property.
Yeah, and I don't want to say the wrong thing too. So those two right there, I'm already like, okay, I'd rather have an agent. And then this is really interesting too. Do real estate agents feel comfortable working with those doing for sale by owner?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, because we know going in, if we're working with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, it's going to be a harder transaction. And more issues can come up because of that. And excuse me. And when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, they tend to also overprice their house because they cannot be objective about their property.
They're thinking all their memories and all their wonderful times in the home.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, but that doesn't translate into sale value. So you already come in at a disadvantage. You need to overcome a hurdle right out of the gate in that case because it's not priced right to start with in many cases. Right.
And then when we were talking about, you know, the misconception of like thinking if you sell your home, you know, by yourself or for sale by owner that you're going to make more money, statistics say that you're not going to, right? But also I think about the time that's going to go into it because when I've sold before, you know, we have the agent, like I might not even be at home, but the agent can go in and sell. Like I now don't have to be there, but if I'm selling on my own, I have to be there. I have to make the calls. I have to do it all, right? It's a big time suck.
Yes, it is. And it's interesting that you bring that up because 90% of people who try to sell on their own average time that they list with an agent, like give it over to an agent, is 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh, really? So they don't even give it that much time. They're like, never mind, it didn't work out. I'm going to give it to the agent.
They're so frustrated with the process, people not showing up, unqualified buyers.
And wasting their time.
Exactly. And so they end up giving it to an agent within a short period of time because of lack of success and because of the time investment.
Right. Yeah. And of course, that seems like to your point too about like they're going to probably list it for overprice of what it should really list for because of the members, because of all the things, and they're going to maybe even get offended when they get certain offers and turn it away when the agent might have been like, hey, that might have been your best chance.
It's such a good, a good point because we have all the data to back up. Like, this is where you should be. You should consider this offer. And then they take an offer, and it's only looking back. Like when you turn away offers you think aren't good to start with, and then you're months down the road with something, taking something far less than you ever imagined. So it's only looking back. So having an experienced person to kind of separate the emotion, keep it in the business realm of things, it's very, very helpful to the owner in the long run. And to your point, the liability, as a group, for sell by owners are sued more.
Oh.
Because again, they don't know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
it just leads to all kinds of problems. So, there's no savings.
Yeah.
Time, money, liability. Hire a professional.
Yep.
Get it done right. Get it done fast, and you'll be much happier in the long run, I think.
Well, if they're interested in hiring you, how can
Yes.
they go about doing that?
MariaRaymer.com.
Easy enough. And she's got a blog on there too. Really great information, in the know, over 25 years of experience. Maria, you're great.
you.
Thank you so much for
Yeah, you're
joining
welcome.
us again
Good
today.
seeing you. Thanks.
too. And if you'd like to see this interview again, everyone, just head to First Coast News Plus.